a quick introduction here. My name is Shylo Bourdeau, and I live in Lowell. Me and my family live there off the grid. We have a working farm, and yeah, it's a little bit about me. I did a quick little kind of timeline here to try to keep myself on track because a lot of this stuff I could keep talking about for hours. So one thing I wanted to share here is about a tribunal that was held in Montgomery, Vermont on September 12th and 13th. We had an evidentiary hearing, and we found the question that we were asked was, is the Montpelier government operating as a de facto government or a de jure government? And for those of you that are unaware, a de facto government means unlawful, and a de jure means a lawful government. And so I sat on the jury for this particular hearing, and the jury came to unanimous decision that our government in Montpelier is operating as a de facto government, meaning unlawful government. And so if we look into the Constitution, Article 7, and I'll read this to you. This is what I'm exercising with what I'm going to be talking about later on here. So Article 7 of the Vermont Constitution says, government for the people, they may change it. That government is instituted for the common benefit, protection, and security of the people, nation, or community, and not for the particular profit or advantage of any single being who is part of only that community, and that the community has an unalienable right to reform or alter government in such a manner as will be, by that community, judged most conducive to the public benefit. So I know that there's probably a lot of people that don't even realize there's a Vermont Constitution, so if you're not familiar with it, I would definitely print it out and start reading through it. So what's going on here with all of this basically is finding out that, the government is, our government in, Montpelier, our elected officials, everyone operating at the State House, is unlawful, and taking from the Constitution here, Article 7, and sort of moving forward with that. Moving forward with that, I am forming what I like to call Wild North Community in Lowell. And so this has sort of been a vision of mine for a little while now. Initially, it started more as a, based off my actual farm and sort of what we were going to do there. And then over the past year, I would say, things sort of changed into forming more of a community versus a business. But I'll sort of go over some of the visions of this Wild North community. So together we will create our own Declaration of Independence and Constitution. The vision is sustainable and regenerative community that is truly free, and our unalienable rights are acknowledged and protected. So on this community, we plan to have a working farm, which we already have a working farm. And so I'll talk about the farm just a little bit and then go into some other things that we're going to have. So it's very important to me, and always has been with farming, that it's done very sustainable and in a regenerative manner so that we are producing abundance and thinking about, the future and future generations while doing this, and really thinking about our community. So currently my farm produces mostly for my family, and then I have, extra stuff and people who already, purchase that, or I do a lot of bartering. And the vision for this farm is that it will not only provide everyone in my community, on the Wild North community, with food security, but also extend our overabundance that we create there on the farm out to the rest of the community. And I would like to really keep it really local and make sure that, my neighbors have access to this. And so it doesn't sound very difficult, but when you think about it, and I think about my expenses as a farmer, doing things organic, doing things in a regenerative manner, my products actually, in order for me to even make anything, even scrounge anything off it and get by at all, become very expensive products. So I'm trying to work, on ways to make sure that these products are affordable for anyone. I don't want to ship my products somewhere else because somebody has more money to buy them. I really want any products that we're producing on the farm to be able to go, to neighbors and surrounding, because I really want to help people have access to healthy food, and I feel like it flows very well with, the regenerative and sustainable philosophy of the farm. So that's for the farm. And we'll produce many things. Currently, what I produce is rabbit and pork and medicinals. So ethically raised meats and herbal medicines. I also make cleaning products as well. And expanding into that, we're going to be adding beef cows and dairy cows and orchards, sort of, whatever we can grow, and we're going to be doing that. So we're also going to plan to have a school in the community, and this school will be for, community members, but it'll also be open to other people who are interested in alternatives to public school, and it's going to be a very nature-based, child-led learning center. There will be the working farm right there and many other opportunities for kids to really learn life skills. We'll have a library, an art center. We're going to have a community kitchen and pantry, and also hopes to kind of make that as a place as well where we can have food for those who can't afford it. We're going to have a lab for making medicine and a butchery for processing our own animals. We'll have lots of barns and greenhouses and gardens, and we're also planning on having a healing center for herbalists and alternative type, practitioners. Could either rent the space, or it could be somebody, the point would be to have this space available and use it to full capacity for not only the Wild North community, but surrounding. So it's just a very, sort of beginning of a vision there. And what I'm looking to do through the next several months, because, winter is closed in on us here, and so we're not going to be launching this community until spring, but there is going to be time available in between now and then for people to express interest and get involved with this community. And so that could mean that you want to be part of a community, you want to join the community, maybe you want to live in the community. Maybe you don't want to live in the community, but you would like to be involved with the school or the healing center or something else. Maybe you're not even up around my way, but you want to do something similar where you live, and you just want to sort of, follow the journey, hoping to find someone to completely document this. I have a photographer who's going to, document that way, and she's also a writer, so we have that kind of documentation, but I would love somebody who could actually make a documentary out of this, because I feel like it's a very very important thing to share with people, especially with what we're going through in the world today, where we are seeing the collapse of all of these systems, our food system, and that has been, it's been years that this has been, coming down, and now it's really collapsing, and people are realizing that the food systems that have been built are not sustainable, and neither are the public schools, and all of these other things. So I feel like it's going to be very important to document this and share this to help other people realize that, it's truly up to us, the future that we create. We can't any longer just leave this in the hands of other people who don't have our best interest at heart. We're going to work much better in our communities on a community level, on this direct level, producing food. And also another part that I didn't mention before, but our community is going to have all of its own power. I currently live off the grid, so I already am familiar with producing my own power. Actually, everyone on my road, private road that I live on, also produces their own power. So we're already doing that in a sense. But that would be also a project to sort of to share and show people that we can produce our own power, we can have our own water, we can have our own schools, and we can produce our own food, and it's going to benefit us more than paying somebody else, which is what we do right now. We pay in taxes, and we pay into these systems that are, not designed to have happy, healthy communities. So that's something that I'm hoping to change, and I truly feel like you can talk about stuff and be very active, but the best way to sort of you really share and inspire people, I feel like, is by doing it yourself. So on a smaller level now, with my family, I do this. We produce almost all of our own food, not completely all of it. I will say that we also have a full-time cleaning business, vacation rental cleaning business. So that has been hit a little bit with COVID, and we've had a little more time this year. But up until this year, purchased our homestead in 2012, and up until this year, we also worked full-time, sometimes more than full-time, cleaning and trying to build this homestead. So that has been a little bit difficult, and it's taken us a little bit longer. We're not completely self-sufficient, but that's what we're working towards with producing all of our own food and our own power. I've always homeschooled our kids and, made our own medicines and those kind of things. And so I just really want to empower people that, we can do this, and we are going to do a much better job if we reach out to other people in our communities. I could see the need for so many more farms. I like to think of it maybe as a community revival through regenerative farming, We have the opportunity, living on a landscape like we do here in Vermont, to just go ahead and be able to produce so much of our own food. And it's really absolutely important that we do this, given the level of food insecurity over the years. And now I was just looking into it. I looked into some statistics on food security, specifically to Vermont, because that's where we live, right? And found that a couple of years ago, the statistics from my county was 18% of Orleans County was food insecure. And so I started looking into it when I was applying for a grant. And then I said, I wonder, what has happened since, this pandemic and all of the restrictions and guidelines that have been put forth from the governor through his executive orders, and how is that impacting those, most vulnerable Vermonters who were already food insecure. And so I was reading another article that said that it was a major increase. So it used to be, they said 1 out of 10 Vermonters was food insecure, and now it's 1 out of 4. If you were a woman, or if you're a minority, a person of color, it was 4 times that. So I'm taking that as everyone in that population is sort of struggling. And so that was recently what they're finding, with all of these restrictions going on and changes that are being made are actually creating a worse problem with food security. And we were kind of already struggling with that to begin with. So it's something I'm very passionate about, because there is absolutely no excuse for people in this state to be food insecure. We have a landscape that is just lends itself to farming and regenerative farming. And I feel like we need to have more reasons for people to farm, more incentive for people to farm, but also we need to have, and we need to have the ability to farm with these philosophies in small-scale farming. So when I say that, I'm talking about things like rules and regulations that actually, are pretty much the reason why we've lost a lot of our farms. People who've lived in Vermont for a while know that this has been an ongoing thing. It's not been, a recent thing since the pandemic. It's been ongoing. That our farms have been disappearing. And so the reasons for that is all of the rules and regulations and expensive insurances and certifications that, small farmers have to go through in order to market and sell their products. And so this really prevents people from wanting to farm because you have to work really, really hard and you really don't make any money. So unless you're really super passionate about it and you find a way to make it work. I found a way to make farming work, but it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to get my property and it wasn't easy to get farming. And while there are many programs out there to help people with farming that I have utilized and I really appreciate, there needs to be more, and it needs to be easier for people to farm because we should be able to be producing pretty much all of our own food for our communities here in Vermont. And so we need to see that. We need to see that happening, and that will be farms popping up all over to do this, and it'll be giving a lot of people work, and it will help with our unemployment because it'll give people work. The farm will often, offer work not just to the farm owner, but to other people because you need quite a crew to operate a farm. And then it will also give us food security. So that's why, farming is so important to me. And that's why when I create this community and think about our future plan and vision, I want to make sure that, we're doing everything really correctly with farming and that we're able to help people in our communities and also through the other, through the other things like the school and the butchery and the pantry, the kitchen, and all of the other things being community space. The more places like this we create, the more people will be able to have access to, alternative healthcare, herbal medicine, the butchery being a really important one because I know more people are raising animals now, and so there's a huge demand for, people to process these animals. I've heard of butchers being booked through until next fall, and being booked through next fall. So I think it's very important. It's something that we should be talking about widely in our communities, creating more farms, creating more healing centers, more, places for people who will come and process your animals, things that we actually need. And I feel like we're not really talking about it. I say we're not really talking about it. I'm talking about it. Our governor is not talking about it, and not talking about, how in a dire situation we are with our food security, and that we really need to expand our farms. And so we need to take a close look at why we've lost farms, why that's not happening, and what do we do about it. So that's pretty much what I wanted to share today. So I'm going to wrap it up here. The tribunal that I was talking about, there is a YouTube link so that you can actually go and watch that entire tribunal. And there's also a summary interview as well on that. But I would really encourage anyone to watch that entire thing, get really familiar with the Vermont Constitution, and start thinking about this, idea of more communities and what can we the people do to meet the needs of our communities. Another really important thing too, as I talk about, not these kind of things not being talked about, and also the State House is kind of close to the public right now too, so it's not like we can get in there and start saying, hey, we need to talk about this, and the governor doesn't respond, even though it's a really huge issue here. So that's why I've also decided to utilize other kind of platforms, including this platform here, NEK-TV. And I would like to do a regular show, leaning towards calling it Ordinary Vermonters, Extraordinary Times. So if anyone is interested on coming on this show with me and just sort of just talking about, yourself a little bit and as an ordinary Vermonter and, kind of what you're experiencing during these extraordinary times, because I do feel like it's very important to hear from Vermonters, and that we need to be able to have platforms where we can be heard, because a lot of the mainstream ones will not hear us. So I would encourage anyone to reach out, and if you're interested in any of this stuff that I've talked about, because I would be glad to have a conversation with anyone who's interested and has any questions. But that's what I've got for today to keep us in a timely fashion here. And like I said, I'll be planning to do a regular show and maybe maybe a couple different shows. I hope everyone has a wonderful day.